G'day from bustling Austin City, and Franco Colapinto, I can tell you, is the real deal. Yesterday after the race, the crowds went wild for him, but it's what happened after the race out in pit lane that absolutely floored me. Let me talk about post-race. I was having a chat with his manager, Maria, and she said, "You won't believe the number of fans out in pit lane, double what we had in Monza." I said, "Are you going out there afterwards?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Right, I'll be with you." And then I heard the chairman of Dalton, which owns Williams, talking to Franco, saying, "Come on, I've got something to show you." So I raced out to pit lane, and as he came round the corner to exit the garage, all of his crew were standing there in a guard of honour. He spent a minute or so with them, and then he made his way across pit lane, and boy, these people were going absolutely berserk, screaming his name. He signed so many things so quickly. They were jammed up too, pretty tight out on the track there. He was posing and taking selfies, and at this point, this is the vision that he shot from up on top of the fence. Oh, and as I was walking down the paddock with him, I congratulated him, and he said, "Can you believe this, Kim? Can you believe this?" I couldn't either. He was so pumped and so genuinely excited for what was going on, and he must have worked a 30-metre long section of the fence trying to get to as many of these fans who were chanting and singing with their flags before security came up, and Marcus, who heads security, said, "Look, you've got to get him down, guys, you've got to get him down." Well, they couldn't get him down for a couple of minutes, and in the end Marcus just had to say, "Come on boys, you've got to get down," which they did, and then he walked back into the garage still with a beaming smile on his face. But it has been phenomenal to see what reaction Franco has had from the F1 community. He's got 5 more races to go. He's already scored 5 points. And as at today, he's got 2.8 million followers on Instagram. Now, before I get into Liam Lawson's great result yesterday, let me take a moment to tell you about Quadlock. If you've been following me here on YouTube, you'll know I'm a big fan of their products. So what does Quadlock do? They make versatile and incredibly convenient mounting systems for smartphones and cameras. Whether you're driving, riding a motorbike, boating, or just out on everyday adventures like travelling, Quadlock has something for you, and it's been a game changer for me. Their mag wallet and charger are absolute essentials. I can't emphasise enough just how much they've changed my life as a travelling F1 photographer. You just snap these on and you're good to go. And if you're filming on the go, their action camera mounts are fully customisable, perfect for capturing road trips to off-road biking and anything in between. Now, if you want to see how Quadlock can make your life so much easier, head to quadlockcase.net and check out their full range. And still on Williams, did you see the back of their car on the weekend? A quirky fan design. Oh, and in the hospitality suite for Williams, these cupcakes celebrating Alex Albon's 100th race. Back to Liam Lawson, New Zealand driver for VCARB. Great result with points for him finishing 9th. And I waited for him at the back of the FIA garage. He came out and I thought, he's not particularly pumped up, but then he saw his press officer and gave her a hug and had a big smile on his face before he went off to the media pen to do his interviews. And were there thousands out on track for Liam waiting afterwards? No, unfortunately not. But he does have virtually a whole country behind him back in New Zealand. Oh, and I must tell you that Liam's girlfriend was at the track this weekend along with her father and her stepmum. I actually mistook Hannah for Liam's sister and Hannah's stepmum for Liam's mum, but I clarified that with him in the paddock. Carlos Sainz getting changed after the press conference on Saturday. Yes, this happens often in F1. They go to a press conference, they're sweaty, and then they've got to go out and face the media. So as Carlos did here, got changed on the way out. That was my most popular post of the entire weekend. Yuki Tsunoda was the fashion icon over the weekend, looking sharp in this brown jumper on Saturday, which he told me he picked up in Japan, didn't know the brand, but on Friday he arrived in this outfit. Now this is a jersey from the Las Vegas NHL team, and I asked him on Saturday about that because that was also a popular post, people excited that he was getting behind the Vegas team. He didn't even know it was from Vegas. He was given it the day before, it's obviously got his name on the back, and totally oblivious to where they were from. Now in news I've just received while recording this video, the track organiser here in Austin was fined 500,000 euros, which is about 550,000 US dollars, for a track invasion yesterday. What happened? Well, a couple of hundred people got onto the track while the cars were still on their warm down lap, and you'll remember that going back, was it a year and a half ago in Australia, that happened there, and Australia lost its right to allow fans onto the track after the race. Will that privilege be revoked for Austin in 2025? Do you recognise this man? This is Jerry Bruckheimer. He was at the track on the weekend because he was giving all of the teams an update on the progress of the F1 movie. I chatted with a couple of the PR people who emerged from that meeting, and they said, yeah, it's all tracking along nicely, and it's due out in June next year. Now, a lot of the social media crews were out and about getting drivers to engage with them, throwing basketballs on one day and footballs on another. Valtteri and Franco both got in on the action. And if you're wondering where I am, I'm staying at the Cambria Hotel, and that is the noise of the city behind me. Now, there are no climbing walls here. Good thing too, because have a look at this. Ao Komatsu, the team principal from Haas, told me that he actually fell off a rock climbing wall, or had an incident on it, and has been on a crutch for a little while now. Now, did you notice the trophies that were being presented to the drivers on the podium yesterday? Well, I did, because I shot a whole host of people on Thursday night with the new trophy, this one here, which was going to be presented to the drivers. But at the last minute, Pirelli had a change of heart. Why? Well, there was a concern by Pirelli that they may be done legally, because that trophy did look a bit like perhaps Mickey Mouse or even some of the Cause stuff you might have seen in the past. So they took the safe route and they swapped them out. Which wives and girlfriends were at the track? I can tell you, Kelly Piquet was with us on the weekend, catching up with Max post-race. Checo Perez had his wife and kids with him and took one of his kids out to greet some of his fans post-race. George's girlfriend Carmen was there with a friend. Lily He caught her playing pickleball on this special court that they put up in the paddock. And Oscar's girlfriend Lily's Naima was about, and I did notice this particular thing on her handbag. What is this? Well, it's a mini Oscar. Quite creative. Now, one of my videos would not be complete without an update on Daniel Ricciardo. I spoke to his management on the weekend and Laurent Mekies, and both agreed that the handling was less than ideal. His management said that yes, Daniel had no qualms at all about Liam replacing him. He felt it was based on merit, and as it showed up on the weekend, it was probably a good move. Laurent, on the other hand, said things were frustrating, not ideal, many reasons we chose to keep it secret. And in hindsight, we may or may not have done it differently. I hope they would do it differently if it happens again. But he did confirm to me that we all found our way to express our love for him. We also talked about how tough it was Thursday and Friday, because Daniel was told a couple of days prior to the race weekend, but he had to go out and do this silly charade on those 2 days and was asked some very tough questions by the media. And I can tell you that out at the track there was an opportunity for you to leave a message for Daniel, although I didn't exactly find out where it was, but I did see it posted on social media. And still on Laurent Mekies, I did manage to capture an embrace between him and Günther Steiner. And another noteworthy hug, Esteban Ocon and Toto Wolff catching up at the same time they both arrived on one of the days. Now, a lot of you have been saying, what is that bag that he carries? So I asked him. It's from Ludwig Reiter. They're an Austrian company, and he's had that bag for a decade. And he told me his wife said it's awful, but well-travelled. Fashion-wise, Lewis Hamilton's outfits were, as always, colourful and interesting. And other fashionable outfits seen at the track, well, we had Ricky Bobby, the impersonator, in his now famous race suit, and another chap wearing a race suit into the paddock on Saturday. Don't often see people dressed up to the nines as Lando Norris, and I'm not sure where he got that from anyway. And then, of course, we had the Ferrari Pope, who is a regular at the track. And Red Bull had a fashion statement on the weekend wearing Pepe jeans with everyone's initials embroidered on their back pocket. And that was in honour of the passing of Red Bull team owner Dietrich Mateschitz 2 years ago. Of course, jeans are very much Texan wear, as are cowboy hats, and boy, did we have a plethora of them in the paddock over the weekend. And still on the subject of Red Bull, this is Ollie. As you probably know, Ollie paints or draws an interesting caricature on the garage floor in pit lane for every race. And what was his Austin-themed picture this race? A cowboy hat. Oh, and in my Shoes of the Paddock post coming up this weekend on my Instagram page, this pair will certainly take pride of place. What should we say of Charles Leclerc's win? Well, it was impressive. I went down to the celebration afterwards, and it was crazy scenes. Interestingly, they were using Mum champagne. I haven't seen that brand at the track for a while. In the past, typically Ferrari would use Ferrari Trento as their bubbly of choice at celebrations, and I was interested to see that Fred was the person that kicked off the celebration with the bubbly straight after they'd done their celebration photo. Oh yes, Carlos arrives most mornings and grabs a coffee out on the deck of the hospitality suite for Ferrari, and he did that on one of the mornings, and one of the social media crew was asking him whether he preferred burgers or tacos. What did he say? If you didn't see the resultant segment, I can tell you he prefers burgers, and in particular smash burgers, and with a little bit of spice. As you probably know, I do a video called What the Drivers Drove, and I often stand in the car park for extended periods of time. And from that car park, I could see the back of the Williams hospitality suite, and I noticed this tent. So I signalled up to Danny, who works in Williams, what is that for? And he came back with, it's a massage tent for their drivers. There wasn't enough room inside the facility, so they had to extend out the back gate. And I noticed too that on 2 days at least, Lando Norris did not walk past all of the media and down the paddock. Instead, he went the back way into the hospitality suite. And that's something we saw from Lewis going back a number of years ago, when he was not interested in parading past the media and perhaps being bombarded by fan requests. He'd take the road less travelled. And how was Lando after the race? Well, he looked disappointed to me when he walked back from the TV media pen back to the hospitality suite, and perhaps rightly so. He thought he was in the right with what he did. Stewards thought otherwise, and his 5-second penalty meant he had to give third place back to Max Verstappen. Of course, that makes winning the championship that much harder, and he'll have to rely now on some bad results from Max Verstappen to get anywhere near challenging for the title. Well, that wraps up an incredibly interesting 4 days out at the COTA track. And after you finish this video, head across to Quadlock and have a look and see what they have in store for you. If you've enjoyed this video too, please hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so, and for a whole lot of extra content, this is where you need to go. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate!
Let's see what his popularity is today.